Classified, we explore the attempted coup against President Donald Trump. This story by our editor-in-chief of the American editions of the Epoch Times, SNOWFLAKES. So just before we begin, please remember to subscribe and hit the notifications button. So President Donald Trump told reporters on April 10th, while discussing the origins of the investigations into his campaign, that there had been an attempted coup. This was an attempted coup. This was an attempted takedown of a president, he said. The president is right. During the past 2 years, numerous details have emerged about how American intelligence and law enforcement agencies were used against Trump during the 2016 elections. The scandal has become known as Spygate and refers to the creation of the Russia collusion narrative, which was used in an attempt to prevent Trump from becoming president and subsequently to remove him from office. Specifically, during the 2016 elections, the FBI's counterintelligence investigation into his campaign cast a shadow over it. And following Trump's inauguration in January 2017, a whirlwind of false allegations that Trump colluded with Russia to win the elections were spread by media and politicians, leading to talk of impeachment. The so-called Steele dossier played a crucial role in the creation of this false narrative. It was Hillary Clinton's campaign, as well as the Democratic National Committee, DNC, which had hired Fusion GPS through their law firm Perkins Coie to produce the dossier. Fusion GPS in turn hired former MI6 officer Christopher Steele and worked with former CIA contractor Nellie Ohr, wife of high-ranking DOJ official Bruce Ohr. Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson and Steele pushed this false information to the FBI through different channels, including the DOJ and State Department, as well as to reporters in U.S. media outlets including the New York Times, the Washington Post, Yahoo News, and CNN. We also know, based on statements by then House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, that no official intelligence product existed to open the FBI's counterintelligence investigation into the Trump campaign. Former CIA Director John Brennan has publicly admitted that he passed intelligence on Americans obtained by the CIA, likely from foreign nations, to the FBI. Brennan said in a May 23, 2017 congressional testimony, it served as the basis for the FBI investigation to determine whether such collusion or cooperation occurred. Associates of Trump's campaign, such as Carter Page and George Papadopoulos, were targeted by a series of unusual meetings involving intelligence assets. We also know that key FBI agents involved in the investigation were fiercely opposed to Trump. One such example is a text message one of the lead agents on the case, Peter Strzok, sent to Lisa Page, who at the time was special counsel to FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, saying, "We'll stop Trump from becoming president." And while Bill Priestap, then director of the FBI's counterintelligence division, was officially overseeing the investigation, McCabe would have frequent meetings himself in his office with agents involved in the case. It was this high-level involvement at the FBI that would help subvert the FISA process. Tricia Anderson, the former number 2 lawyer at the FBI, testified to congressional investigators in August 2018 that she signed off on the FISA warrant application on former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page without reading it, due to the involvement of other high-ranking FBI officials. Her boss, then FBI General Counsel James Baker, would himself admit to congressional investigators how unconventional the investigation into the Trump campaign was. Baker told lawmakers in August 2018, "I had a jaundiced eye about everything. Yes, I had skepticism about all this stuff. I was concerned about all of this. This whole situation was horrible and it was novel, and we were trying to figure out what to do, and it was highly unusual." The spying continued well into Trump's presidency, as the FISA on Carter Page was renewed 3 times for 90-day periods. FISAs on other members of the campaign or transition team may have been issued. Other methods of spying on the Trump campaign involved the use of national security letters, which allowed the FBI to subpoena customer records from banks, phone companies, internet service providers, and others, and the so-called practice of unmasking, which involved the unredacting of the identities of members of the Trump campaign in intelligence reports. Notably, after Trump fired FBI Director James Comey on May 9, 2017, it was McCabe's FBI that reached back out to Steele in an apparent attempt to reinvigorate or create new investigations into Trump. This came after the FBI had officially terminated its relationship with Steele due to his unauthorized contacts with reporters, as well as after his dossier had been publicly discredited following BuzzFeed News' release of the document in January. Trump said he hopes the Attorney General will go back to the origin of exactly where this all started. And it appears that this is what Attorney General William Barr is doing. During 2 days of testimony on Capitol Hill, Barr told lawmakers that he believed there was spying on the Trump campaign and that he is looking into the conduct of officials who worked on that Russia investigation. I'm going to be reviewing both the genesis and the conduct of intelligence activities directed at the Trump campaign during 2016, Barr said. I think spying on a political campaign is a big deal. It's a big deal. I think spying did occur. So many people are wondering where things go from here now that Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation has ended and the former FBI director has turned in his final report.
Somewhat ironic that when it came to the announcement of the first hearing of the first witness of the Democrat majority, that they would pick somebody who was going to jail for lying. Before this man, Mr. Cohen, even raised his right hand to swear he'd already lied. That is why Chairman Cummings numerous times warned the witness. Just as Congressman Green said. Numerous times. Chairman Cummings said that he would be the first to refer him to the Department of Justice if he lied.
Yeah, that worked out real well.
There's not one person in America that does not understand Michael Cohen lied that day. He didn't lie once, he lied 7 times. I respect Chairman Cummings. I respect him based upon my working with him through the years. I do not understand 42 days later why he didn't keep his word. I do not understand when we asked after this had taken place, would you refer him? It's not that we asked him to do something he said he would not do. He made a promise, not to those in the room, but to all of America. It comes to the integrity of this House. It's not a partisan issue. This is about, will you keep your word? We know Michael Cohen would not. We know the chairman said he would be the first to refer. That's why we waited. That's why we gave them the ability to do what they said they would do, to do what was right. But I want to thank the ranking member, Jim Jordan, for helping lead this, for being patient, for trying to work with the chairman, to hold him to his own word. But today, we have filed this. We will give the entire body an opportunity to do what they said they would do. It's not about this one situation. It's about the integrity of this House. And more importantly, what's the integrity of their majority?
Mr. Secretary, if I may, you had indicated that you would like to have a press conference in this room following...
I'm going to cancel that. I don't have time for that, so I'm...
well, that's what I was going to ask you, if you would, instead of having the press conference, continue with those members who have been waiting here for so long. And I think what I thought I originally heard was 5:30 rather than 5:15. So is it possible you could give us another 15 minutes to get to these members?
I have a foreign leader waiting in my office at 5:30. Okay, I agreed to stay longer. It will be embarrassing if I keep this person waiting for a long period of time. I wasn't going to have a press conference. I was going to have a short press gaggle. I'm not going to do that. And I've assured you, I'm happy to come back here and answer more of your questions. I respect the committee, and we want to have a good working relationship with you. So I hope you'll understand. I'm already going to be late for my 5:30.
I do understand. We're late all the time, unfortunately. We're all pressed for time, and I do get it. However, I think I indicated early on that we would request or require that you come back at least 2 more times in the month of May.
Fuck you.
Is that something you're agreeing to?
No, Madam Chair, I find this to be, I have here every single time Jack Lew and other people came here. There's never been anybody that's been here more than 3 hours and 15 minutes. I've sat here for over 3 hours and 15 minutes. I've told you I'll come back. I just don't believe we're sitting here negotiating when I come back. We'll follow up with your office. How long would you like me to come back for next time? I've told you I'll accommodate you.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your reminding us of the length of time other secretaries have been here. This is a new way, and it's a new day,
Yeah, well,
and it's a new chair,
okay,
and
well,
I have the gavel at this point. If you wish to leave, you
Somebody
may.
ought to club you in the head with it.
Can you clarify that for me?
Yes, clarify. Is
So,
this.
so
If you wish to leave, you may.
Okay, so we're dismissed. Is that correct?
If you wish to leave, you may leave.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You're wasting your time. Don't remember you have a foreign dignitary in your office.
I would just say that the previous when the Republicans, they did not treat the Secretary of the Treasury this way. So if this is the way you want to treat me, then I'll rethink whether I voluntarily come back here to testify, which I've offered to do.
Mr. Secretary, I want you to know that no other secretary has ever told us the day before that they were going to limit their time in the way that you're doing. So if you want to use them as examples, you have acted differently than they have acted, and as I have said, if you wish to leave, you may.
I'd get up and walk out and tell her to fuck off.
If you'd wish to keep me here so that I don't have my important meeting and continue to grill me, then we can do that. I will cancel my meeting and I will not be back here. I will be very clear. If that's the way you'd like to have this relationship.
Thank you. The gentleman, the secretary, has agreed to stay to hear all of the rest of the members.
Okay,
Please
so just let's
cancel
be
your
clear to
meeting
the press.
and respect our time.
I am
Who is next on the
in my
list?
foreign meeting. You're instructing me to stay here and I should cancel.
No,
my
you just made me an offer.
I didn't make you an
You
offer.
made me an offer that I accepted.
I did not make
Well-
you an offer. Just let's be clear.
Well,
You're
you-
instructing me. You are ordering me to stay here.
No, I'm not ordering you. I'm responding. I said you may leave anytime you want. And you said, okay, if that's what you want to do, I'll cancel my appointment and I'll stay here. So I'm responding to your request. If that's what
You
you want
fucking
to
Not what
do,
I want
Bitch.
to do. I told you.
what would you like to do?
What I've told you is I thought it was respectful that you'd let me leave at 5:15.
You are
which is
free
the
to leave
current
anytime you
period of
want.
time.
You may
Okay,
go
well then,
anytime
please-
you want.
Please dismiss everybody. I believe you're supposed to take the gravel and bang it. That's the
Please do not
appropriate-
instruct me as to how I'm to conduct this committee.
Said he had 3 times in 2016 and 2017. Then I asked him, have you ever talked to Nellie Orr? And he said, no, I haven't. I said, well, why can you answer that question? Because Nellie Orr worked for Glenn Simpson, worked for Fusion. He could answer that question, but he couldn't answer because FBI counsel told him he couldn't. He couldn't answer the question whether he'd ever communicated with Glenn Simpson, a journalist. Why couldn't he answer that question?
Mr. Jordan, I appreciate you saying it isn't personal. Sometimes it feels that way. How do I know, sir? I mean, you interviewed Mr. Strzok. I didn't, so I can't
Works
answer.
for you. Doesn't work for us.
There are 115,000 people who work for me, sir.
Yeah, but only
Mr.
10 of them
Rosenstein,
are
did
your
you
fucking
threaten
buddies.
staffers on the House Intelligence Committee? Media reports indicate you did.
Media reports are mistaken.
Sometimes. But this is what they said. Having the nation's #1 law enforcement officer threaten to subpoena your calls and emails is downright chilling. Did you threaten to subpoena their calls and emails?
No, sir, and there's no way to subpoena phone calls.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm reading what the press said. I'm reading what the
I
press
would
said.
suggest that you not rely on what the press says, sir.
Well, I didn't ask if there's no way to do it. I asked if you said it.
I said what?
What I just read you.
No, I did not.
Well,
No, he did not. This guy, Rosenstein, and if you paid attention to any of this all the way through all this, he is as fucking corrupt as his boss Comey. Okay, he thought he's one of the deep state actors. I think we've all figured that out. But the way he fucking lies to Congress, everybody else is looking at jail time. Manafort's looking at 25 years of fucking jail time for lying, and this cocksucker is still loose on the streets.
But now who are we supposed to believe? Staff members who we've worked with, who've never misled us, or you guys, who we've caught hiding information from us, who tell a witness not to answer our questions? Who are we supposed to believe?
Thank you for making clear it's not personal, Mr. Jordan.
Well, I'm saying the
You should
Department of
believe me because
Justice.
I'm telling the truth and I'm under oath. If you want to put somebody else under oath and they have something different,
I know these staff
I'm
members.
Respond.
Here's my last question. What's so important that you know that you don't want us to know, that you won't give us the documents we're asking for, that the House of Representatives is about ready to go on record saying you should give us. What's so darn important that you will threaten members, at least according to media reports and according to the staff members, threaten members?
Inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
What is so important, Mr. Rosenstein?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
That's Sheila Jackson Lee, the fucking monkey-faced bitch from down south. She just got kicked off of a couple of committees because of ethic violations. A fucking bitch that's black, that's stupid, that thinks the world owes her a fucking favor, and should have her fucking ass strung up.
This is not an appropriate time for a parliamentary inquiry.
And point of order.
Tell her.
The gentleman
Shut
keeps
the fuck
representing
up,
that the House of
Sheila.
Representatives, yes, it will be
Sheila
the Republicans
Jackson
who
Lee.
continue
That is not an appropriate point of order.
Well, he needs to be corrected in his statement.
The time of the gentleman
will
be
be the
restored.
members of the Republican Party
The gentleman will
that vote in that
suspend.
Shut
The time
up.
of the gentleman from Ohio will be.
Shut up, you
Does Nellie Orr work
Shut up, you fucking monkey-faced fucking bag.
committee? So I appreciate what you do. I just want the information, and we're so frustrated that there is now a resolution on the floor of the House in just a few minutes that will be voted on.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Mr. Rosenstein will be allowed to respond.
I don't have any control over what resolutions you vote on, sir, and
I
you
know
should
you
feel free to
don't.
do that.
The gentleman will suspend it. The time now is the Attorney General's.
In their plans to usurp this republic and destroy the national sovereignty of the United States, to implement the Great Society of George Soros, the Rothschildian banking cabal, and others who want to destroy borders and destroy national identities, especially again in stable, Christian-based constitutional republics, because they hate Christianity, they hate freedom and liberty. All these traitors are from hell, and Julian Assange has cast a flashlight of truth on them, and they want that light snuffed out. They don't want to go to jail, they don't want to be arrested, and they want to live out their lives in their high lifestyles where they've stolen money from the people, and they want to continue to concentrate power in the hands of a few elitists in Washington, in Brussels, in London, in Paris, etc., in Frankfurt, and they want to continue to abuse the free peoples of this planet and move us toward a new world order. And we don't want their crummy new world order, Mr. George Bush I. We don't want any of that, because we love our republic and we love the will of the people, their collective wisdom directing the destiny of this nation. As long as the American people stay good-hearted, then America will continue to be a great country. But when America ceases to be good, yes, of course America will cease to be great. But many of us understand and appreciate the journalism of Julian Assange. We don't want him to fall into this trap. It's very possible that he could, because if he steps out in that street in London without the President of the United States saying, the administration, that look, if he's extradited to the United States, we have plans to exonerate him, to offer him U.S. citizenship. The same with Australia, the president of that country or the prime minister, he needs to do that for his own citizen, Julian Assange. He did a great service to the world by disclosing the corruption of the elitists in Washington, both the right and Republicans and the socialist, communist Democrats. He disclosed all of their trying to destroy our free and fair elections, trying to, again, frame Donald Trump, exonerate Hillary Clinton, and destroy the will of the people. So Julian Assange is the people's journalist, and that's what we're here to report about today. We're here to report on the Assange trap and how and why he should avoid it, and why we're warning and alerting WikiLeaks. I'm sure Julian Assange knows what they're up to, but just as a precaution, we are sounding the alarm like Paul Revere of old. We're telling the people that the tyrants are coming. And so Julian Assange does the same thing, and he's done it in greater measure in the 2016 election. And we have been there since July 16, printing what he puts out in public, because he gets it from whistleblowers, and we know how dangerous it is for these whistleblowers to be telling the truth from the inside of the CIA, from the inside of the DNC, by revealing these human traffickers, these corrupt politicians, like the Podesta brothers and others. They put their life at peril, and they're to be respected and honored as true brave men and women who don't deserve not to be awarded. They should have a Liberty Award or something for such journalists who are truth tellers. Forget this Pulitzer Prize. I mean, it's Bullitzer Prize, like bull. Like if you tell lies for the left wing and the globalists, as they lied about President Trump. Yeah, go ahead. And he told Michael Cohen to lie to Congress under oath. Give us a break. It was a total lie. It wasn't a bombshell report. And there were people at the New York Times who got Pulitzer Prize for this whole fake Russian collusion investigation. They got Pulitzer Prize for lying. Well, no, we here at Inspa News and other agencies who want to put out truth, it's death before dishonor. We don't want to lie. We don't disclose sources, and we tell you the truth. And by the way, if you go back and look at past reports of both WikiLeaks and Inspa News and other agencies like what we're trying to do up here.
His colleagues on the House Intelligence Committee is Democrat Adam Schiff of California. We've had a long-running dispute with the congressman on the matter of Russia. That began when he accused us of being agents of Vladimir Putin. You're on the Intel Committee. Let me just ask you one final question. Can you look right into the camera and say, I know for a fact the government of Vladimir Putin was behind the hacks of John Podesta's email?
Absolutely. The government of Vladimir Putin was behind the hacks of our institution and the dumping of information.
Of John Podesta's email. Not
only in the United States, but also in Europe.
Okay, you're not, you know what, you're dodging.
And Tucker,
no, look and say, I know they did. John Podesta's emails, they hacked those.
And I think that Ronald Reagan will be rolling over his grave.
Ronald Reagan.
And you're carrying water for the Kremlin.
I'm not carrying water for the you're making, look, you're a sitting member of Congress on the Intel Committee, and you can't say they hacked.
You're gonna have to move your show to RT Russian television because
you know what?
This
That's
is perfect.
Just so
this is
beneath your office because it's so dumb and you're being duplicitous. I'm asking you, did they hack Podesta's emails? And you can't say it. Look into the camera and say they hacked John Podesta's emails. We know for a fact that Putin's government did that. You can't, and you know you can't, and you're hiding behind weasel words.
The president's remarks last night, his effort to discourage any meaningful oversight of the administration, that's a non-starter. We are not going to be intimidated or threatened by the president to withhold any legislative advancement if we do our proper oversight. We're going to do our proper oversight. I can fully understand why the president has gotten used to the idea that Congress doesn't do oversight, because for the last 2 years, the Republican majority has essentially been missing in action when it comes to being a co-equal branch of government. But that ended with the midterms. We're going to do our jobs. The president needs to do his. And our job involves making sure that the policy of the United States is being driven by the national interest. So we're going to do our work, and that work began in earnest today.
With visiting foreign ministers or local ambassadors. It's shared through intelligence channels because it needs to be handled.
For the meeting, is this just further efforts to weaken the president, disrupt our political process? How do you explain those events?
A lot of questions there, Mr. Schiff. The first point I'd like to make is that I shared classified information with the Russians while I was director of CIA.
That the president was attempting to enlist the help of people within the intelligence community to drop the flame
in the United States, and that's why, as I said, we set up a group in late July that included the FBI and NSA. I wanted to make sure that every information and bit of intelligence that we had was shared with the Bureau so that they could take it. It was well beyond my mandate as director of CIA to follow on any of those leads that involved U.S. persons, but I made sure that anything that was involving U.S. persons, including anything involving the individuals involved in the Trump campaign, was shared with the Bureau.
And Russians now, in these couple of minutes, do Americans who are suborned in such a way, and Russian oligarchs that are recruited or suborned, do they necessarily need to know that they are doing Russia's bidding?
No, many times they do not. They do not even know that the person that they're interacting with is a Russian. Many times they know that individuals may be Russian officials, but they don't know that there's an intelligence connection or an intelligence motive behind it.
See evidence of collusion, coordination, conspiracy between Donald Trump and Russian state actors.
I saw information and intelligence that was worthy of investigation by the Bureau to determine whether or not such cooperation or conclusion was taking place.
That doesn't help us a lot. What was the nature of the information?
As I said, Mr. Gowdy, I think this committee now has access to the type of information that I'm alluding to here. It's classified, and I'm happy to talk about it in classified session.
And that would have been directly between the candidate and Russian state actors?
That's not what I said. I'm not going to talk about any individuals.
But that was my question, and you answered it. You didn't answer it that way.
I responded to your query. I'm not going to respond to particular elements of your question because I think it would be inappropriate for me to do so here. So I can only repeat what I said, which is that I was aware of intelligence and information about contacts between Russian officials and U.S. persons that raised concerns in my mind about whether or not those individuals were cooperating with the Russians either in a witting or unwitting fashion, and that served as the basis for the FBI investigation to determine whether such collusion, cooperation occurred.
All right. Well, there are a bunch of words that start with C floating around. I asked you about collusion, coordination, and conspiracy, and you used the word contact. And I think in a previous answer, you did a really good job of establishing that contact could be benign or not benign. So was it contact that you saw? Was it something more than contact? What is the nature of what you saw?
I saw interaction and aware of interaction that again raised questions in my mind about what was the true nature of it. But I don't know. I don't have sufficient information to make a determination whether or not such cooperation or complicity or collusion was taking place. But I know that there was a basis to have individuals pull those threads.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you saw something that led you to refer it to law enforcement. And in your judgment, it is up to law enforcement to test, probe, corroborate, contradict, otherwise investigate the full nature of that information you passed on. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yes, it is, because it's not CIA's job to make a determination about whether a U.S. person is cooperating, colluding, or whatever in some type of criminal or illegal matter. It is our responsibility to give the Bureau everything that they need in order to follow that path and make such a determination and recommendation if they want to press charges.
Someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism. And what is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation. Well, isn't this the liberal philosophy? The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Their 2020 platform sounds identical to policies already tried and now failing in the collapsed socialist state of Venezuela.
You know, it's funny, sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, well, they don't get to keep it.
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Abolish ICE. It's a growing call from Democrats to get rid of the agency that arrests and removes illegal immigrants in the U.S.
I think we should get rid of ICE. We need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Why is it good for us to pay for the health care bills of people who snuck in here against our law?
It's good for people who are in our country, who are contributing to this country's success.
Or did it also apply to, I don't know, gang members or vagrants? I think they were covered too, weren't they? These hot-button issues like free college, free healthcare, once thought to be radical, appear to be the starting line in this Democratic primary.
The three core demands of the National Day of Action are free public college, a cancellation of student debt, and a $15 an hour minimum wage for people who work on the campus.
And how's that going to be paid?
Great question. I mean, you know, so...
Do you call yourself a radical?
Yeah, you know, if that's what radical means, call me a radical.
Nancy Pelosi, do you recognize her as the leader for the House Democrats?
Of course.
We, as you are aware, we are diligent.
I think one way you get rid of Trump is a crashing economy. So please, bring on the recession. Sorry if that hurts people.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, you get out and you tell them they're not welcome.
They go low, we kick them.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar under attack for anti-Semitic tweets. Can you respond to that?
No, thank you.
You used the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that? I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing. I I'm not the expert.
They are the future face of the Democratic Party. They are not only anti-Israel, but often that anti-Zionism morphs into anti-Semitism.
Either the Klansman or the guy in blackface is right now the Democratic governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam.
Northam's nickname was a racial slur.
They called me Coon Man. I did participate in a dance contest in which I darkened my face as part of a Michael Jackson costume. I actually won the contest because I had learned how to do the moonwalk. My wife says inappropriate circumstances.
Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts with a DNA test to prove her Native American ancestry.
Her DNA test claiming she's part Native American appears to be backfiring.
Tonight, the leaders of the Cherokee Nation are speaking out against Senator Elizabeth Warren's campaign video touting her Native American ancestry.
Have you considered dropping out of the race?
You're talking about zero carbon emissions, no use of fossil fuels within 12 years.
That is the goal. It's ambitious. And
how is that possible? You're talking about everybody having to drive an electric car?
Admitting in earlier drafts that, quote, we aren't sure that we'll be able to fully get rid of farting cows and airplanes that fast.
I really don't like their policy of taking away your car, of taking away your airplane flights, of let's hop a train. You're not allowed to own cows anymore. You know, there are a lot of problems.
It's been revealed. Go. The first solid indications have just been revealed that President Obama is implicated in the Hillary Clinton email scandal. What is the Hillary Clinton email scandal all about? When she became Secretary of State, it appears that she wanted to conduct her many bribery or pay-to-play schemes while she headed up the State Department. But apparently there was so much traffic of people wanting to buy influence from her that she just couldn't go home to send private emails. So she just used her government account, apparently, but under different names. The IT guys at State probably advised her that she had better set up a private server to conduct this type of nefarious business, because eventually everything done on the State Department system would become public due to Freedom of Information Act requests. Well, when the lid started to blow off the Clinton scam, suddenly tens of thousands of Clinton's emails disappeared. The FBI said they couldn't find them. Some of you may remember that we did several reports saying that losing government emails was an absolute impossibility due to the amazing numbers of automated backup systems deployed to protect government communications. Those Clinton emails were probably the most backed up emails in the history of the world. Well, guess who found them? All 49,000 of them. Judicial Watch. Yesterday, Judicial Watch announced that a senior FBI official admitted in writing and under oath that the Bureau found all the Clinton emails in a number of different places, including the Obama White House, specifically the Executive Office of the President. Uh-oh. Another place they were found was the laptop of disgraced former Congressman Anthony Weiner. You know, the husband of top Clinton aide Huma Abedin. Uh-oh. And who squealed on Comey and the Trump haters on the 7th floor of FBI headquarters, right on Pennsylvania Avenue, halfway between the White House and the Capitol? The Assistant Director of the FBI Counterintelligence Division, Bill Priestap. Apparently the only honest FBI guy on the 7th floor. Priestap made the disclosure to Judicial Watch as part of a court-ordered discovery into the Clinton email issue. And catch this, the judge, U.S. District Court Judge Royce Lamberth, ordered many people in the Obama administration, senior State Department officials, lawyers, and Clinton aides, as well as Priestap, to be deposed or answer written questions under oath on this matter. I wonder if any of them told the truth about this the way Priestap apparently did. Uh-oh, let's hope they didn't lie under oath. So guess what else Judge Lambert did? He ruled that the Clinton email system was, quote, one of the gravest modern offenses to government transparency, close quote. Priestap said in his sworn disclosure that copies of the lost emails were actually found in the possession of many former staff members of Hillary Clinton and other government agencies, including President Obama's White House executive offices. Talk about the wheels of justice grinding slowly in this case. Judicial Watch filed this Freedom of Information lawsuit in July of 2014, nearly 5 years ago. According to Judicial Watch's Tom Fitton, the astonishing confirmation made under oath by the FBI shows that the Obama FBI had to go to President Obama's White House office to find emails that Hillary Clinton tried to destroy or hide from the American people. No wonder Hillary Clinton has thus far skated. Barack Obama is implicated in her email scheme.